Hey, what's going on everyone? Nick here with HN Entertainment's recap and review for Game of Thrones Season 8 Episode 5. This is the penultimate episode to the final season of Game of Thrones, and as with all of my recaps, they are going to be very spoiler-filled, so if you haven't seen the episode, you have been warned. So without further ado, here we go. The episode opens right up with Varys trying to send a note about Jon's real lineage and ultimately being caught by Tyrion, who notices that he's been trying to talk to Jon about who he really is. Basically, Jon keeps refusing, keeps shutting him down, and this ultimately leads to Varys being executed by Daenerys once she finds out about his treachery from Tyrion himself. When we start this episode, Dany is really broken about what happened to Missandei last episode. She's kind of been off on her own, not eating or anything for a few days now, and a lot of people are very concerned about her. After Varys is sentenced to death and killed, she confides in Jon and talks about what she has to do, and why she had to do it thanks to what Sansa did. At that point, Tyrion knows he's in hot water, and basically, once he finds out that Jaime was captured, trying to escape the north to go back to King's Landing and be with Cersei, Tyrion hatches a plan with Ser Davos to smuggle him into King's Landing early to get Cersei to safety and to ring the bells, thus signaling the city's surrender. Jaime is able to escape, but the next day is when the siege of King's Landing begins. Basically, this time around, Dany is able to use her last dragon to destroy the city's entire defenses in a matter of minutes. She also takes out the entire Iron Fleet with just a single dragon, which makes you kind of scratch your head and wonder, how are these writers being consistent? Rhaegar was killed last episode by the same fleet. Basically, the entire point in which the siege begins this episode, it becomes a bloodbath. All people are dying left and right, innocent people, Lannister army members, and pretty much everyone in between. Dany ends up going full Mad Queen and burning the city to a crisp. She also levels most of the Red Keep, and that's how Jaime and Cersei are killed off. They go to try and escape underground in the tunnels to get back to the boat that Ser Davos had placed, but the path ultimately gets closed in, and they both die as the Red Keep collapses on top of them. One of the other major deaths this episode was the Hound and the Mountain, as they finally caught up and had their rematch. Both of them end up dying as the Hound rushes the Mountain in a last-ditch attempt to knock him out of a building down into the Hellfires. Euron does get killed by Jaime though, right before Jaime is mortally wounded and goes to rescue Cersei. The last character that we meet up with is Arya, who does escape the carnage in King's Landing on a pale horse. Personally, I think this episode was definitely the biggest in the entire season besides the Battle of Winterfell. It kind of cemented how the finale will play out. Jon and Arya both clearly know that what Dany did to King's Landing was wrong, and I'm guessing one of them will end up killing her. The only question becomes, who's going to sit on the Iron Throne, since Jon has been very adamant about not wanting the throne for so long. It's a little bit disappointing that Dany went down the whole Mad Queen arc, but I guess that's kind of what we can expect from a show like this. I did like how powerful this episode was in terms of how brutal it was, and how we saw pretty much everything just go to hell when the dragons started attacking. But what did you guys think of the episode? Do you think it was a fitting penultimate episode to what is the final season of Game of Thrones, and how are you liking how everything's getting resolved? Do you like Dany's transition to the character that she's become now? Are you satisfied with how Jaime and Cersei's arc ended? And what'd you guys think of that rematch between the Hound and the Mountain? Post your thoughts down in the comments below, and for more updates on Game of Thrones and everything pop culture, be sure to subscribe to HN Entertainment.